everybody, welcome back to Cedar Studios. If you're new here, I'm Michelle, and my husband and I have an Etsy store and obviously this YouTube channel. And we like to make lots of things by hand, and my husband likes to engrave wood products, metal products, anything you need for your business. I am making lots of fun homemade items. I have lots of quilted makeup bags. Here's one of them. They're just adorable. I have fabrics. You're gonna like this. I have fabrics. Some of them are vintage because I started sewing when I was 8 years old. And if you're a sewer, you know you can't even get rid of a scrap because you love the fabric so much. So I have fabrics from projects that I've already made, and I've been using those to create makeup bags and wrist fobs. I'm going to be making a whole lot of those today out of these super cute fabrics. These are some newer ones. But I also use some of my older ones to make the makeup bags. I'm going to show you a quilt that I'm working on right here. I will be quilting the corners from the makeup bags that you have left over as scraps. Now these little corners are going to not make a tote bag like everyone else has been doing, but I'm going to quilt them together and make a dog bandana. My dog, well, our dog, Sadie, she loves to dress up. She is not like our first dog. If we put something on our first dog, she was a big black lab, she would eat it. She did not like having something on her neck, on her back. She was a big dog and just didn't need warmth. Sadie, on the other hand, she is also a rescue like our first dog. We thought she was going to be a great big dog as well. But she turned out to be a very small lab mix, and she loves to dress up. We put her in a coat during the winter, and she prances around. She's so happy to be wearing a coat and be warm and cozy. So I thought it would be a lot of fun to take all these little scraps that you get from your makeup bags, quilt them together, and make her a quilted dog bandana. So let's get going. I have a lot of sewing to do, and I want you to stay along with me and enjoy the ride. Let's get going. I want to start out by showing you some of the fabrics that I'll be using for the key fobs. These are a lot of the fabrics, well actually some of the larger scraps that I was able to get from the makeup bags that I offer on our website, on our Etsy store. They are wide enough to make these key fobs. And you can make them any size you want. You just cut the fabric to fit the little attachment that you're going to be gluing or clamping your key fob wristlet into. These are some of the fabrics that I found on Michael's and Hobby Lobby and Joann's, which sadly is no longer in business. And they're just beautiful fabrics. I thought they were really pretty. But I'm going to be using some double-sided interfacing. Well, it's more of a batting. It's a glue-in batting, basically. And I tried it with just a single layer, so only 1 inch wide in the wristlet, but it didn't give it enough cushion and thickness. You're not going to be wearing this around your wrist with some keys on it, so it's got a little weight, and you want it to be soft enough to wear on your wrist. So I've added a double width of this cushioning, but I was trying to figure out how do I fit it in here, or how do I get it evenly in here. So I was trying lightly creasing the center so I could find the center mark, but I end up basically eyeballing it because it took so long to create all these crease marks in order to get it centered or get it where I thought I wanted it. But it was easier to center it by simply placing it down the center and then adjusting the sides to meet in the middle. The problem is I had to hold it closed because there's glue on both sides. Now it makes it easier to sew this way, but yeah, a lot harder to iron without burning your fingers. And I have a kind of a powerful steam iron that I've had for many years, because I think I've let you know in a previous video that I am a fashion seamstress mostly, because I've been 5'10" since I was in the 6th grade, and I started sewing my own clothes. So I have this iron
That's pretty powerful because you're constantly ironing, steaming all your seams while you're sewing a garment. But it comes in very handy for this type of work too. And the other garment sewing item you'll see me use is a clapper. That's the wooden press that you see on the side. And what that does is create just a sharp seam, a very sharp fold in whatever you're pressing. And it's excellent to use for making collars and wristbands on shirts. So it came in really handy with this type of work too, because the crease is sharp enough that you can get it very, very precise and line up all your edges. So when you go to sew it, you get a really clean finish. It looks very professional. This is my absolute favorite foot for the sewing machine. It's the number 10 edge stitching foot for the Bernina sewing machines. But all you have to do is follow that guide down the center line and you get the most perfect edge stitching ever. I love it.
Phew. Okay, so I have to count them, but I know there's got to be at least 30 of the key fobs that I just finished edge stitching. But I'm going to save those to sit in front of the TV and put the clip on the end. That's how easy those are to make. Now, what I did differently was I added double the softness by adding a full layer of the iron-on. It's like a batting. It's very thin. If you quilt a jacket or a vest or something like that, it can become a single piece of fabric just by ironing both sides onto this interfacing. Well, it's actually more of a batting. And the other thing I do differently is I add E6000. Let me see if I can find it. So I add the E6000 jewelry glue because I do not want those to come apart on you and for you to lose your keys. So I add that onto the edge of the fabric, then I clip them closed and I let them dry. And the last thing I'm going to add on is a really cute little acrylic circle. It's a little Cedar Studios, really cute, clear charm. So I'm hoping that would add something just really beautiful to the wristlet, and that you guys will enjoy them. So on to the next thing.
These are some of the squares that I got from cutting the corners out of the makeup bags. Not all of them are even. Some of them are from experiments that I had done before I came up with the perfect pattern. So I need to take the smallest one and cut them all down to be equal. I ended up cutting 1 3/4 inch squares. Those are tiny.
Okay, so you can see I'm about halfway done. It's taking a while to cut these all equally. I'm making sure they're real straight. But I think it's going to be so cute once I get all these in a nice order. Yay, my last one. Hey, so I have a question. Are you guys perfectionists? I kind of have a bad habit of being a perfectionist because I love it when like the seams match up perfectly, or when the back side is finished as nice as the front of something that I've made. So I had to get these cut just right. So I'm going to get these quilted, well, sewn together at a 1/4 inch seam, but first I want to mix up the patterns. It's pretty good, but I need one more square, and I won't have an issue getting out once I start sewing more of the makeup bags. And I have a massive pile over here, all quilted, ready to go together. had to start clipping these because they're getting away from me and getting mixed up. Usually you quilt something after you've put it together. So this is a little more difficult than I thought it was going to be because the pieces are so small. But so far it's turning out really cute.
So you can see I finished sewing the horizontal seams, and now I'm going to start sewing the vertical seams. And when you're quilting, you try to have opposite seams together. So you have one facing down, one facing up. And that will push them together under the foot and get as close as possible to meeting in the middle when you look at the front side of your fabric. This is a lot more difficult, like I said, with this double layer of batting and 2 layers of fabric on a tiny piece of calico print, and it was hard to seam over all these bumps. And it came out pretty close. It's not perfect, but I think it turned out so cute. Here is the finished product. I'm going to give it a good press. I love the colors. They're so pretty together. I think Sadie's going to love it too. This is our dog, Sadie. She's 8 years old. You can see how small she is. She is a perfect little lab. We've gone walking with her so often, and I think every person that talks to us asks her, "How old is your puppy?" And we tell them she's 8 years old, and they don't believe it. She's just the cutest little thing. She wants to sit on your lap and be cuddled. And I think that she needs to have a little neck ornament. Look how pretty that is. That's going to fit around her neck perfectly. And I'm going to get 2 out of all that piecing that I did. This is the backing that I chose for the bandana because pink is definitely Sadie's color. And guess what? It's reversible. I love that about this. Because it's going to be evenly finished on both sides, you'll be able to turn it from one side to the other. I'm going to quilt as much as I can between the lines so it has a really pretty finish on the front. And when you're going to sew around the triangle, leave an opening so that you can turn it inside out. A trick I learned sewing collars is that when you come to a point, don't go all the way to the end and then do 1 stitch across the point and continue down the side. That gives you the cleanest corner, trust me. Once I finish sewing around the triangle and leaving an opening, I'm going to go ahead and cut the corners. You want to take as much as possible off the really narrow points because it makes it hard to turn right side out and get those points pushed out enough to look really nice. So I struggle a little bit to get it started, but I'm going to be using a plastic knitting needle. I think it was my daughter's when she was little, and there's just one left, so it's been perfect for turning the corners in any of the garments or things that need, to get the point out far enough. Once both points are pushed through, you're going to work with your fingers and roll the seam. As you're rolling the seam under the iron, it's going to give you a much sharper finish. Try to keep that the pink side rolled toward the back. It's such a thick seam on the side that you kind of have to force it with your fingers until you get it pressed in place. Now I'm going to sew all the way around, finishing it with an edge stitch, and it was so hard to go over every one of those spots where you had 4 layers of fabric intersecting. But I was able to get through it. That's what I love about my sewing machine. It's very powerful. It's an older machine. I was surprised when I went to look it up the other day what year I bought it. And I think it's like from 2008. But it's running strong. But here you can see I added an elastic, so it's so easy to slip on and off Sadie's neck, and she doesn't complain. Like I said, our little Sadie likes to dress up. We don't dress her in clothes or anything, but boy does she love to put on a coat when she's cold. And then you put a little collar on her or something like this. She's just very happy with it. And look how pretty she looks. Little Sadie. And here's the reverse side. You can see pink is really her color. And here are the finished key fobs. I want to thank you guys for watching. And if you're interested in getting your own key fob, you can head over to Cedar Studios on our Etsy shop. And I appreciate you guys for sticking around to the end. And I hope you'll be back for more. Have a wonderful day.